I'd like to call to order the Hatfield Township Board of Commissioners Workshop Meeting for September 11th, 2019. Roll call.
President Zipfel.
Here.
Vice President Hughes.
Here.
Commissioner Andrus.
Here.
Commissioner Rogers.
Here.
Commissioner Thomas.
Here.
I'd like to ask Chief Bill Tierney to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance this evening. Couple of announcements. First is in memory of 9/11. Everybody recognizes that it was 18 years ago today that one of our worst tragedies in American history took place. And so we would actually ask if we would still rise again in honor and in memory of the victims of 9/11 and their families. I need to announce that the board met in executive session to discuss personnel and litigation in advance of tonight's meeting. And with that, we'll move on with our agenda. Is there a motion for approval of tonight's agenda?
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Thomas.
Second.
By Vice President Hughes. All in favor of approving tonight's agenda, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, we can move forward with the agenda before you. Citizens' comments. Any citizens' comments on agenda items only? All right, we're going to move on to our consent items. Is there a motion to enter into the record the consent items listed in your agenda?
So moved.
By Commissioner Thomas, second by Commissioner Andrus. Those items include the police report for the month of August, the HTMA meeting minutes for July 9th, the Palmer Fire monthly report for the month of August, the pool advisory board minutes for July 9th. With that, I'll call the question. All in favor of moving those items into the record, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, those are moved into the record. We're going to jump right into committee reports. First is Planning and Zoning Committee. Commissioner Rogers.
Thank you. Just a reminder that we have a public hearing September 25th regarding a zoning change request from light industrial to commercial for Berge Realty, and that's at 3190 Trigamy Road.
Commissioners, I have plenty of graphics and visuals. I'm having a technical difficulty over here. Good stall. Ken, if you want to describe what's happening in a few weeks.
This is a request from Berge's Realty. They have purchased two properties that front on Bethlehem Pike, and there was a suggestion made to them that they would have safer egress from the two properties if they found a connection out to Trewigtown Road. They were able to put another property under agreement so that they could make that connection and also provide a space for their service area. The one glitch is that the property they have under agreement is zoned light industrial, which doesn't allow their use. So the request is to rezone it to commercial. It's consistent with other properties out in that area, so it's not an issue from a planning standpoint. And the Planning and Zoning Committee moved it on to the full board. I believe the hearing date is scheduled for September 25th, and the hearing's been advertised in a way that would allow the board to vote on it that evening if you choose.
This is actually an owner being proactive and making sure that they don't have to have a light on 309, being able to use the light at 309 in Trewigtown.
Exactly. They were concerned about left turns heading southbound on 309 coming out of the site, and our Anton Kuhner, our traffic engineer, made a suggestion that if they could acquire an access out to Trewigtown Road, it would bring them out to the light.
Right.
So it's much safer southbound movement.
Actually cleans up a property that's not so nice.
Well, that property has been a problem for many years, and I think we can count on it getting cleaned up as part of this.
Great.
So is there a publication obligation effective this week?
Ordinance has been advertised, or not, sorry, not the, hearing has been advertised.
Right.
The ordinance has been sent to the County Planning Commission and was sent to the Township Planning Commission, received a recommendation for approval from our Planning Commission.
Okay. Okay, no, that's great. I just wanted to make sure that we cross our Ts, dot our Is, if September 25th will be the night.
Yes, and notice has been sent to the property owner, who in this case was the applicant, so we're in good shape there.
Want to jump ahead, or do you think it's necessary to come back? Right? Why don't we, Bob?
Probably get through the, if you want, Public Works Committee, I think Vice President Hughes could talk about that. I do have a visual plan, but I think we don't really need that one. But there are plenty of others that I would like for the community.
Well, why don't we, yeah, let's do that. Oh, do you want to hold off on Public Works right now?
We can probably do that one.
Do that one? Okay, let's jump right into Public Works. Vice President Hughes.
Okay, the Township Traffic Engineer, Anton Cooner from McMahon, they designed a plan for upcoming traffic signal at Durstein and Cowpath. We recently met with the 3 adjacent property owners to review the plan and get any feedback that they had. They all seemed comfortable with what was going to happen. The signal's been warranted for about 15 years based on the volume. Actually, we were planning on using Act 209 money for that, but we ended up moving ahead with Orvilla Road first. So there will be a resolution on the agenda in 2 weeks that we need to be approved before the permit is submitted for final approval from PennDOT. And installation time frame is, it depends on when the Walters farm starts to develop up there, but it will be done. I guess the other thing is Line Street is still ongoing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, actually, I spoke with our inspector this afternoon, and they're on schedule. The culvert is due to be delivered tomorrow.
Okay.
My understanding is that all of the initial excavation is done, the stone base is down. Kind of oversimplifying, but it'd be kind of like putting a bunch of Legos together.
Okay.
Just big Legos. But we're on track, and I expect it'll be in for the end of the week. I'm not sure when they expect to pave, but we are on the schedule that we had discussed with the township a couple of weeks ago.
Okay, very good. Thank you. And that's all I have.
All right. Aaron, are you looking to jump back into planning and zoning for a moment?
If you would like, Mr. President.
No, we
just-
don't.
Just
I
a
mean-
quick visual of where, I think we showed this a few weeks ago, just to give the community a sense on where that parcel is that the public hearing will be for next week. So we
Right, you
discussed
can-
it a few weeks ago.
You can see the parcel outlined in blue with the red dot in the middle of it is the subject parcel, and the request is to rezone that from light industrial to commercial.
Questions or comments from commissioners or otherwise? All right. Aaron, do you have any visuals for Public Works?
Just the location of the traffic signal that Vice President Hughes had mentioned, just so everyone is aware of where it is in the community. I know we get a lot of feedback from residents that watch the video, and they like to see context so they can understand exactly where it is, and that will be the new intersection once that's completed. Like Vice President Hughes, pretty minor improvements associated with it, shaving off that intersection there in front, at the corner of St. Maria Goretti to allow for trucks to turn, and that's pretty much it as far as physical improvements.
Timeline for this?
Timeline has not been established. We will find out more as we go through the land development process with the applicant on Township Line and Cowpath Road. And then there will be a time frame built into that resolution that will require this signal to be installed.
All right. Any other visuals or anything under Public Works that, oh, we have a question. Yes.
Well,
Tough getting out of that
tough getting out of there,
intersection.
and the one thing that will happen is that the 2 lights will be interconnected, so they should be working, they should be coordinated, so that if you get the light at Durstein, you should be able to get the light at Bergie. So,
And when we met with St. Maria Goretti, we were told of many incidents where the priest actually had to come out and do some blessings after accidents. So it's not safe, and that's the ultimate motivation.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
There's a tough sight line there because the people on that left corner have 2 bushes. Very well. Ask that
They have been
of
over time.
Mr. Bebro tonight.
The police have been involved and a very cooperative, very good homeowner who's been very cooperative over the years with the police, has trimmed them back, and we think this will just help with that intersection.
This has been long overdue. I mean, if you see the lines out there at rush hour, people trying to make a left, and then people coming up on the right to go around them. So, and like I say, with the interconnection between that light and Berge Road, hopefully it won't be a huge problem. Definitely long overdue.
All right, any other questions? Yes. Okay.
And there will be a left turn signal off of Cowpath on the Durstein, so that will help that move a little better also. And a left turn lane to go with it, so.
Great. All right, we're going to move on to Park and Recreation Committee. Commissioner Thomas.
Thank you, President Zipfel. I feel like I just reported on all this stuff, so I'll try to make it brief. So we've got Zumba and yoga coming up for Get Fit. We've got our Ready, Set Medicare seminar coming up. That's actually next Thursday. American Girl Tea and History coming up in September and October. Excuse me. Indoor pickleball on Mondays and Fridays and Wednesdays. Rocktoberfest is coming up on Saturday, October 5th. And the Octo Half Marathon is also on Saturday, October 5th. We're actually running those almost simultaneously, although I believe the marathon will probably finish up before the Rocktoberfest actually begins. And the Hatfield golf outing on Monday, October 14th. For information on any of those things, with the exception of the Octo Half Marathon, you can check out the website hatfieldrec.com, but for the marathon, it's www.runtheday.com.
Right, appreciate it. Brevity is good. All right, Public Safety Committee. A few updates. As you know from our last meeting, our police department is now a part of the Ring Neighbors program. We ask that you continue to spread the word about this, as it will help our officers in their community outreach and safety initiatives. At our last meeting, when the program went live, the department was able to immediately undertake an investigation into drug activity after a video was shared off of the Neighbors app, which was great. So immediate use and success with it as well. As mentioned in prior meetings, our officers are now wearing body cameras. The videos we have obtained have already helped in some investigations. We're very proud to be one of the first departments in the county to have moved ahead with the body cameras initiative. Additional news, our officers were at the Giant on Cowpath Road today from 3 to 7 for our ongoing Coffee with a Cop program.
I didn't make it to the TV spot, but yeah, they were there.
Okay, all right. And on September 21st, from 9 to 11, Hatfield officers will be assisting Upper Gwynedd with another Coffee with a Cop event at Weiss Market, located at Valley Forge and Sumneytown Pike. These joint events are a great way to build relationships with the public and form bonds with our neighboring departments. Our officers will be at the 12th Annual Egyptian Festival this weekend at St. Mary and St. Christolas Church on Unionville Pike. That is right on that turn, right as you go past it. I saw that they've, if they're not completed their construction, they're pretty close to completing their construction. Had some great recent steps in putting some large pieces of that puzzle together, so congratulations to them. And again, that's on the 12th. I think it's the Saturday and the Sunday, right? Right. And last is these community events allow our officers to interact with a vibrant and diverse Hatfield Township community. If anyone has any ideas on other activities the police can be a part of, please reach out to Chief Tierney. Our officers are always happy to be a part of those community events. All right, any questions or comments? All right, then we're going to move on to the Finance Committee. Commissioner Andrus.
Yes. Aaron, you're going to have that up while I read the narrative?
Sure.
This is the part of the finance report, and it has to do with pension obligations. Municipalities are required to submit pension obligations for the following year to the state by October, based on calculations from the actuary and finance director. PowerPoint slide shows the cost of the police and non-uniformed defined benefit pension plan. As a reminder, the state mandates defined benefits for police officers. Township switched to a non-uniform employees, for all non-uniform employees, to a defined contribution for a 1K type plan. Non-uniform police employees hired after January 1st, 2013. Hatfield police officers contribute toward these pension costs at the highest rate permitted by state law. Although these obligations represent a significant portion of the township's budget, it's important to view these costs as part of the overall package that is necessary to recruit police officers who have a challenging but very essential job in our community. The plan took effect for non-uniform officers, a 401K type pension plan on questions? Okay, we're going to go dive right into the pool here. Thank you for everyone, or to everyone who visited the Hatfield Aquatic Center this summer. And thanks to the pool staff, Parks and Rec Director Ashley Brody, and Pool Manager John Taylor, Assistant Manager Mike McInerney, and the board who put in countless hours working at and discussing ways to make the facility a successful operation. All public pools present many challenges for towns to manage, but we can't lose sight of the fact that thousands of residents come to the pool every summer, great memories and friendships that can last a lifetime. We have had former staff who've met their spouses while working at the pool. We hear from families all summer with stories about their children, learning to swim at the pool, meeting new friends at the pool, and countless other experiences they wouldn't have had in our community without our pool. Sure, it has its challenges, but we have been able to operate at a profit almost every year since the new pool opened 12 years ago, and we do our best to deal with what comes our way each season. Projected slide shows that our efforts in recruiting more residents to buy season passes has worked, and the other major revenues have remained steady. Total revenues exceeded expenses in 2019. Have also become a more efficient facility when it comes to operational cost. Next slide shows that we have been able to cut our three major expenses, electricity, propane, and chlorine, by more than half in the past decade. We're able to do this by fixing every leak in the pool, buying chemicals in bulk, and forming a consortium of community pools to purchase commodities as a group. Commissioners also negotiated better electric rates and have also benefited by the market prices for decreased utility costs over the last 10 years. Variables we can't control, of course, are the weather. If it's hot and dry summer, the pool does well. If it's rainy and cold, like in 2018, the revenue drops significantly. Again, thanks to all who visited our pool this summer, and we hope to see you back in 2020. Yes, we'll go on sale early next year, correct?
Early next year, we're trying to find a way, maybe even earlier, so they can be Christmas presents or Hanukkah presents, whatever people celebrate.
Thank you. All right, any questions? All right, we're going to go on to my last, this is most I think I've talked all year long. 2020 Budget and Goals Workshop will be on October 16th at 6 p.m. in this room. Staff is working on a draft budget for the board to review. Preliminary figures show that the commissioners will be able to hold the line on taxes again for the 6th straight year while providing all the great services to our community. Finalize the spending plan and discuss specific goals during the October 16th public meeting, correct?
Correct.
Final draft will be presented in November with the idea to adopt it in December. Thanks for all the work that we do as commissioners. This past several years to put the budget in good place financially, which makes our budget process smoother than most.
Staff has a lot to do with the saving expenses and making sure we get the best bang for our buck, so we need to thank them also, staff and the township manager.
It's all the leadership of the elected officials, but thank you.
All right, and that's all I have.
All right. Okay, what is it? The solicitor's taking credit
Sure
for
wanted
that?
some credit for the content.
because your report's coming up soon. Do you
He
have any?
volunteering his time to help with the
It would All right, we're going to jump into the township staff report. Aaron.
Thanks, Mr. President. Just wanted to run through, since we're approaching the meeting that Commissioner Andrus talked about in October when we talk about our goals and the budget. At that meeting, we go over the goals from the last 3 years extensively. Usually we're in a room with roughly 0 audience members, so I thought it might be valuable to talk a little bit about the goals of 19. And Ray, you are at that meeting, so I don't want to say no one's here. We certainly have some visitors, and some years we've had
We've had some folks.
We've had a group.
Yep.
So I just wanted to recap with the board and the community some of the goals that we've accomplished here in 19 before we start to look forward to 20. So, Police Department, Chief Tierney identified these goals as for his department for 2019, and in our technical glitch that we had earlier, it erased my giant check marks that I had on this PowerPoint, but all of these goals, the first 3 have been accomplished. The 4th is in progress as far as the new heating and cooling at the Detective and Public Works building. So body cameras, Chief has talked about it a lot over the last few months. We had officers here showing what they look like. They're out on the street and actually using this new piece of technology. We've had several instances already that have showed us the value in having a running video during calls. Promoted and trained 2 new corporals and several, as Chief Tierney and President Ziffel talked about tonight, community policing events, which I think Hatfield does as well as any department that I've ever seen when it comes to community policing. Public Works, the goals that were identified and proposed by the commissioners last year in the Public Works leadership, Line Street. For those of you who live in that area or drive in that area, you realize that that's in progress. And by the way, the folks that live on Line Street are the happiest of anyone because they have a quiet street for at least 2 more weeks. Bricks Trail construction and completion, that's been our goal since 1964. I think we began that project. There's a little bit of exaggeration, but it is finished for the most part this week, and I have a picture to show the community in my next slide. We have a bridge installed, little few things to clean up, but should be opening up to the public. Commissioner. Next week, PennDOT will be out to test our pedestrian crossing at Orvilla and Independence, and once they give the blessing, then that will be that'll be turned on as well. Commissioner Rogers has been out there at least 14 times this week.
The flashing light works good.
Flashing light works good. We are testing it out. Repaved School Road Park trails and the track area, that's something that unfortunately the pricing of the road program, as we tried to add that on, it became higher than we had hoped. So what we plan on doing, and we'll talk more in October, is adding it to our bid package for next year and then getting that done in early spring. New street sweepers out, cleaning the roads. Aspen Drive is a small stub in Commissioner Rogers' ward. We're still working on that. As far as removal, won't take long. That was one of the things that we decided we're going to do in the fall. So what is Frick's Trail looking like these days? This is the bridge that the Public Works staff has been building over the last few weeks. This is as of yesterday. Obviously, more railings going in and final touches happen today and tomorrow. And I'm told by Friday that that will be open and ready for the public to bike and walk on. And again, this bridge was required by DEP because there is a stream crossing underneath it. And Brian McAdam, our engineer, took us through that process a few years ago. And it was determined that we have to install 3 bridges. This is the one on this side of Orvilla. There's 2 others that we have to install on the other side where the Frick's Trail is already built. So people can use that side of the trail now without any issues, but over time we will be removing some of that portion of the trail and putting in 2 smaller structures. So hopefully by Friday this trail will be open. People start using it, and it makes a really effective connection to a large part of our community to get to the park, to get to the Township building, the Aquatic Center, Hatfield Borough. It's a great connection, and thanks to Tina in the audience who's on our walkability committee, and we talked about this and all the connections and the amount of times that a lot of our community members walk these trails throughout the day. So I think we're excited about it. Some of the Parks and Rec goals for this year was to install permanent nets for the pickleball groups. President Ziffo, you probably remember our pickleball group was one who attended our budget
That's
meeting.
who attended our budget meeting.
About 5 years ago, 30 of them showed up.
And a number of our regular meetings, too.
Exactly. And I think they showed up, and 6 months later, there were pickleball courts.
Right.
And that's local government at its finest right there. More successful programming. Ashley and her department do a great job. We have, as you can tell by the length of our reports by Commissioner Thomas, we have a lot going on. Another Oktoberfest coming up, a lot of summer programming. We have 100 campers, and we'll talk more about this when we present the budget, but just a snapshot of some of the things we did in 19. Emergency management, adding data and information is a goal in our mapping, our GIS mapping that you often see when I show these slides where you see the maps and the parcel view. That's the software we use to also track other assets and other pieces of infrastructure throughout the town. Aquatic Center, items 2 through 5 have all been completed, and thanks, as Commissioner Andrus outlined, all of the work that was put in this past year has reduced costs significantly. All the leaks have been fixed. We use less chlorine. We use less propane. We use less electricity because now we have a facility without any leaks at this point, and the commissioners invested some money into the facility to get it back to where it was when it first opened. The bottom of the certain pools are going to be tiled this week. We didn't have enough time to get it in spring before it opened, but once that's done, that's then a maintenance-free item for the next 20-plus years. So that's an investment that's well worth it, so you don't have to constantly be painting the bottoms of those areas. So all those things are done moving forward. Transportation goals, fixed cow path or villa. We talk about it every month. We know where that is. It's coming our way soon, hopefully sooner. Route 63, all those traffic signals, it's out to bid. We talked about that a few weeks ago. Liberty Bell Trail connection, not sure what that parentheses is, but that was something we've talked about over the years. It's considered by the state and by the county as a regionally significant trail connection, and it runs through Hatfield Township. So actually, conveniently enough, next week we're meeting with 5 other communities in our region where the Liberty Bell Trail runs through, and we're talking about potential application for a grant to do a feasibility studies as 5 towns together, which we think will make us a more competitive application. And then together as a group, regionally, we can look at where the connections make sense and then hopefully apply for some money to build the trail. Ongoing, McMahon and Associates, our traffic engineer, are studying and coming up with ways to improve these intersections that we identified last year during our workshop meeting. I think when you look at the Coffle or Villa Welsh, School Unionville, Coffle, 40-foot, everyone's well aware that there are some improvements that could be made at a lot of those intersections. We've obviously are in the process of fixing our worst one, Cowpath or Villa. Thurstein Cowpath's about to get addressed, and now we have other ones to continue to improve over the next few years. Walkability and sidewalk study, as I said earlier, we have Tina's on our committee, Commissioner Rogers is on the committee, as well as about 15 other stakeholders from the community. We have our final meeting on the 25th, and then the 25th commissioner meeting in 2 weeks from tonight. Anton will be here to present the final study to the commissioners and to the community as far as where certain areas of Hatfield can improve in its walkability and how we are going to accomplish that over the next few years. Signal upgrades, it's a constant process of going to a video rather than the old-fashioned loops. And we are regularly doing that as signals break down. We upgrade them with new and better technology, and as grant funding comes up, we try to upgrade them as well. So that's a quick rundown of some of the goals in 19 that we've been able to accomplish. We'll talk a lot more if anybody's interested in discussing it more. October 16th is the night. Well, I can't imagine there's many people, but I would love to have you out, and we'll talk more about what's going to 2020, and the commissioners will lead that discussion. So our other event, Dogapalooza, just wrapped up this past weekend. There's my dog about to bite this dog. Hasn't been a lawsuit yet. I'm kidding. It's a very gentle dog, but very successful event. It's our 8th Dogapalooza to date. And this year, more successful than any other before. Weather was beautiful. We had over 600 people and dogs attend this year's event. We raised over $8,000 that a portion of will go to the Hatfield Dog Park to improve that facility, and then to an organization called AmeriCares that will help with disaster relief from the Hurricane Darian in the Caribbean area. Again, special thanks has to go to Tracy Inman. Tracy, Township employee, created this event 8 years ago, and it has grown ever since and has become one of the more popular events we have in the Township. My favorite event because none of the patrons can complain. They eat well, and they seem to be pretty happy. So another season is beyond us, and thank and they come home clean, and my dog slept for 2 days after that, so I thank, for that alone, it's worth it. That's all I have, Commissioners. Thank you for your time tonight.
All right, well done, well said. Solicitors report.
I would just like to note to Commissioner Rogers, of all those trails, my leg is not 100% yet, but I'm getting there, so we can start running probably sometime in 2025. And also,
Not sure if that's an invitation or a challenge.
Sounds good, I'll be ready.
All right, citizens' comments. Are there any citizens' comments? All right, before we adjourn, I need to announce that the board is going to meet in executive session to discuss real estate and litigation. We'll not be returning afterwards. And with that, I will entertain a motion to adjourn. Motion by Vice President Hughes, second by Commissioner Andrus. All in favor of adjournment, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Hearing none, hearing that, hearing that in the positive, we are adjourned. Thanks for coming out, folks.